Hi there. How are you? I have a journal for you that I think I'm going to enjoy sharing. It's from 9/2, the second one of that day, and the Mayan day was 11 dog. Who are you? Of course, remember the titles come after. Now, though I wish I could do this one live, yet I'm in process of uploading a rather large journal file, and each time I've tried to both record and upload or convert, video has had problems. So I write. Do you have even a clue who you are? Who you really are? For about 98% of the population, the answer is no. We don't. And yes, that includes a lot of us light beings in the mix. Now, why would I say that even the light beings don't have a good grip on who they are, on their identity? Well, look within. Now, tell me what you find. How much self-knowledge or higher self-knowledge do you find? Very much? Well, most of us don't. If you'll journey with me, come and let's take a deeper look into this. Now, it requires going deep, so drop down into heart right now, if you please. And just keep returning your attention to the middle of the chest. It's enough. As you find a way to anchor your awareness there, you'll be self-taught. Taught from within, where your divinity abides. Now, please let go of the words. Don't get stuck on them. You can't go into your heart and there's a cabinet that says divinity and you open it and oh my God, there you are. You know, I have to use words, but don't get stuck on them. When you do that, just recognize it as the mind interfering and let it go. Drop it and move back to heart. If you're faithful with this one or any of my journals, you'll find yourself taking a deeper journey, a better trip, if you will. It's more than possible to get high on nothing but heart, so don't be surprised. Now, this is an effortless thing that we do, dropping down into heart. It requires no effort at all, since you're already there all the time. We're just linking up with that. So it's not that you're actually going somewhere. Rather, you're awakening to a place you already inhabit. Yeah, I know it's a bit strange. It helps to know and to remember that we're all multidimensional. When we forget that, we tend to get stuck in linear 3D. When we remember, though, we can safely let go of 3D. It'll be there when we return, so have no fear. For those called to do this, I suggest you take out pencil and paper and have them at the ready. That way, if heart has anything it wants you to jot down, you'll be ready and not lose your space within by having to get into mind to find things and organize them. It's important to have no expectations, not about anything. Expectations are just yet another way that mind interferes. So let them drop. It'll likely seem strange at first, since we all have so many expectations around our spirituality, don't we? We at least expect to awaken, to wake up. Yes, drop that one too. I'm calling you to emptiness, and you can do this, so set your intent to abandon every expectation. just realize that all they do is interfere. It's a time of surrendering, isn't it? Surely you've noticed it before just now. This is where you'll likely find that you don't know yourself at all, but that's quite okay. We're remedying at least part of that right now. So I ask you to make peace with any possible outcome of your stay here in 3D. It doesn't matter, since you're already divine. It's nothing you need seek, earn, or demand. It already just is. So stay out of mind. When it comes in with a reminder that you don't feel divine, just look away. Don't pay it any attention that it craves. You know much more than it does, so it can do naught but limit you. Pass it by. It'll be there for you when you return, so you can deal with it then. Meanwhile, look away from mind and all thoughts. Now, take a few minutes to make peace with, to accept any possible outcome of your time in 3D. You may or you may not awaken. Let that be okay. Don't fight it, nor be afraid of it. If the fear comes up, well, just watch it. That's enough. No need to do anything with it or about it. Just observe. Now you know a bit more about self, and that's valuable on its own. Welcome it. Remind yourself that you're a source being, an emanation straight from the divine, our original source. We're not humans at all, my friends. The human vehicle is much like a car that we drive, a tool that we use, a being we make friends with, but it's not the self. Take a moment to recognize and then accept that you are not human. It's but an avatar you operate, a friend you journey through life with, intimately. Recognize, remember that you are a light being. You are spirit, not flesh. Take every opportunity as it arises to step out of your human identity. It's not real. Well, yes, it's very real while we are here, but that's nothing. A microsecond in the eternity of the real you. Where you are, who you are, is not subject to time as any sort of limitation at all. It's more like a filing system, keeping things organized than anything else. The reality is that you have no limitations. Now, your human avatar will have some temporary limitations until you straighten things out, coming back into full remembrance of who and what you really are. Yet, even if challenges or trials come upon your human companion, your body-mind there, that is also nothing to the real you, who is eternal, who is infinite. You cannot die. Death itself is a lie. Is your attention still centered in chest? Keep it there. It will help out. Now, what is our biggest challenge as these light beings robed in flesh? It's likely our beliefs, which are strong. We really believe we are right in so many things. And yet, we've forgotten about our power to create. So we generally don't take responsibility for creating this life. We tend to look around, stuck in the 3D level, placing blame for the troubles of the world and our own troubles on others. This is both to refuse responsibility for our own life and to play the victim at the same time. Be open to the challenging stuff. Be empty. Keep just going to heart. It will help. As the journal journey proceeds, notice what gives you the hardest time, what you resist most. Those are the keys to your own personal journey, blocks to your growth into the fullness of your divine identity. Just notice them, that's all. It's enough. This is not a time to do anything at all about what you notice, except perhaps to jot something down. If you were to try to fix something now, that would only be mind, and it wouldn't work. This is a time to get to know self, to anchor in your greater, not your lesser identity. We're all quite familiar enough with the lesser identity. It's just something to watch at this point. Heart will guide in all ways. It knows what to do and when. There are great advantages to being centered within. Recalling that all time is truly just now is one of the knowings we contact there. Our full completion is already there, remember. We are not learning or earning or any such thing. We are merely reconnecting and remembering what we are, what we already know on the deeper internal levels of being. We're uncovering that. So this is effortless work. Mostly our goal is just to stay out of our own way at first, just to watch. Your divinity is a done deal. Now that's wonderful to know, of course, but we must proceed with caution here. I'm sure we all know or are aware of at least one who is an enlightened ego, one who laid claim to enlightenment a bit too soon. Life will say when you're illumined, that's not your job. It's also our job to surrender the intensity of our desire for this awakening or for anything else. Why is that? Stay in heart for this. Hear it from there. You are already enlightened. It comes with being divine. Yet all of this is nowhere to be found in 3D. Well, that's your job, making room for it to also manifest here, to externalize that. And you can, but it's tricky. The biggest thing that's necessary is to remain always, as much as you can, in heart or in the now moment. So, there is no need to desire what you already have, what you already are. By desiring that, what you're saying is that you don't have it. Thus, to desire it is to push it away. Time to simply know that you are that right now. If this isn't easy, that's because all of your false beliefs are interfering. And it's due to identifying with anything at all here in 3D. He is rich who is content with what he has. Have you heard that old saying before? It's a really good one. It points straight to heart. That's the way I see it. We are all richer than the richest ruler in the world. But we don't know that, do we? Most of us don't. Those who find their way into heart either do know it or are in the best position to discover the truth of it. We are really quite rich. Right now, the huge bulk of your identity, your wealth and riches, your light and attainment are not present here in 3D except by tokens or hints. If, like me, your choice is to manifest that here in service to life, then let's get on with it. That's a choice we can make. Well, how to implement it? You guessed it, by sticking to heart. Yet there is more. We have a whole garden of belief to deal with, a whole false identity to slay. Actually, the false one is going down by itself, just as the result of our going and staying within. Keep reminding yourself of who you truly are. Claim it and own it. Don't worry about showing it or being a leader for others. Not yet. That part takes care of itself. And maybe you've noticed this already. So don't try to show out. It won't have the results you're after. There's still the old identity in there, seeking to regain control. It'll pop out at the oddest moments and at every chance you give it. So just be alert. It's part of the watch and observe thing. Part of what makes it so powerful to bring change. You can't change what you can't see. Be sure to remember, though, to only observe. Higher self will be the one to initiate change. Okay, so how are you doing with this so far? Are you finding an increased measure of self-awareness? That's a part of every journal journey for those who are observant, and it's a priceless gift. It's due to our lack of self-awareness that we're in the fix we see all around. No fear, though, only peace. Now, here's the beauty in this. It's that the peace, the joy, the self-knowledge, and the rest are already here, right within heart. You don't have to earn, nor create them, nor struggle in the least. Just almost literally fall back into them, for they are aspects of your real being, of your natural self. No effort, remember. None at all. You will laugh with me one day when you discover the richness of your native divinity. We will both find it so funny that these are lessons on just being who you really are. It's great fun. In these ways, life can be easily seen to be so much easier than most of us have any clue that it is. We're all just learning how to be the I that I am. Yet, due to the relentless programming and control over society that now exists, many walls and barriers have been erected against us finding the self. Well, that's okay. Remember, please, everything is inherently okay, just by virtue of the fact that it is, that it exists. It's not ours to change what is, just to navigate through it and stick to the self, live up to the highest that's in us. So let's all be sure not to resist that which simply is. Shall I continue, or is this enough? I know that some get full and tire before others, and that's only natural. We're not all carbon copies of one another. Each one is divinely unique. One thing I will say, and say often though, is to notice who or what is actually tired in you. Is that really you, the divine being, that is tired of such a journey? If you look closely, my bet is that you'll find it's mind every time. Mind, and dealing with that is likely the greatest challenge we face. Yet, as we claim and own our divine identity more and more, that'll be taken care of for us. When in doubt, or when seemingly stuck, look around for what you could surrender. All of our challenges and difficulties come both from desire and attachment. So see what you're attached to, and take up your place in heart where that will be easy to detach from, to surrender. The real you doesn't need anything. It just is. So you don't really need anything. Sure, things are nice to have, and some, like food and water, are necessary to keep our avatar body-mind alive, or not. Do recognize that there are also breatharians, those who exist on no food and no liquids either. Do you find yourself resisting this information? If so, have a look at that to see why. What kind of research have you done on it? What do you know about it? What basis is there for your resistance? What in it bothers you, and why? Just because breatharians exist doesn't mean you need to become one. I wouldn't go there unless my heart pulled me irresistibly that way. Heart must be at the helm of your new life, my friends. That is, if you want the shortest route home in consciousness. The other option is just mind. It will likely be enough to just begin and persist in seeing the self differently, seeing it more as the divine one that you are. This will lead you quite naturally into surrendering attachments, into sundering the ties that keep you bound to 3D alone. Know that you are already multidimensional. Claim it. Own it. Begin to use it. See yourself that way. As you go forward this way, you are on the move from head into heart. It's both the shortest and the longest journey you'll ever make. You won't come out of it the same as you went in. Are you ready for real change? Does that make the solar plexus tighten up? If so, look at that. Look to the cause. Get to know what makes you tick and what holds you back. Keep looking to the cause of it all. Just watch and observe. You're developing a new sensitivity to the self that you've probably not known before in this life, though I'm sure some have. It's just that we're still a bit rare, but not for much longer. Another thing you can remind the self of in those awkward spots is the ultimate equality of us all. Literally, no one is better than anyone else. No one at all. Not whether they're a sage or a savior, a ruling monarch, or the richest woman on earth. You're absolutely equal to every one of them. Own that. It takes some detaching from 3D to accomplish this. This will go a long way toward reprogramming you from the worthlessness that's been a big part of our overall programming, designed by the powers that were. This sense of worthlessness is the false imitation of the beauty of divine humility we can all find within our own heart. It's there for us already. It's part of the emptiness and its beauty, humility. You'll find it within. Know that. Then you can find and claim it with greater ease and swiftness. In this way, applied knowledge is power. Another good tip is not to rush the self. There's really no rush, since you already are everything that you could ever possibly wish to be. It's a done deal, remember? Your job is just to uncover that which has been so well hidden and for so long. You'll find that in your new sensitivity to the self, that it is a kindness not to rush. As you take frequent pauses to take in more deeply what you've observed, that's a loving way to treat the self, to not overwhelm. In the end, or in the relative end, for every end is yet a new beginning, you'll find that love is the common denominator of every step that we're taking together here. Nothing but true divine love, which is, of course, unconditional. No conditions on self, no conditions on others, and no conditions on life. That's where you're going. It's such a beautiful space to inhabit that I just don't have other words for this. No conditions. That's all. Another thing that softens out the hard places is just knowing that you're already there. Thus, there's no pressure on you to learn or to grow or find anything new. Rather than learning, what we do here is to recall, to remember. As we make our way deeper and ever deeper into heart, we discover that in there we're already perfect and complete, bathed in a certain glow of joy. Now, this is our inner self, do remember. My challenge, at least, is to embody this right here in 3D, to anchor as much of it down as far as it will come. In the midst of that, we will find that we're also raising our little area of 3D up into the higher dimensions. So it will come up to meet us who are also coming down. Or it will come down to meet us who are also rising up. The ideal is to meet in the middle and find that we're not separate at all. We are that. We really and truly are. Now, the I itself is on its way out. How can it not be when all it represents is separation and we are not separate? Be ready to let it go, that's all. This little bit of foreknowledge can be most helpful when such a time comes. You'll be prepared, and that can smooth the way for you. There will be tears. Did you or do you know that? It's very good to accept that reality as well. Do you have any ideas such as being simply perfect in every way once you're illumined? I suggest to you that those are mind's way of trying to understand what is not in its realm. Those ideas are not real. There will be tears and pain. The hints have been generously spread out there for us, such as the chop wood, carry water one, that reminds us that the same chores need to be done, enlightened or not. I suggest for any who are ready, Nisargadatta's great book, I Am That. It's an awesome read and has much light in the spaces between the words and the ideas. You can make a direct sort of connection with the Master by reading his book while centered in now or in heart. He has much wonderful guidance to offer there. And of course, I'll provide a link. And I'll give you a link to some information on the Breatharian, too. Now, are you still in heart? If you are, then give yourself a pat on the back. That's a big deal, actually. Everything flows from that. You'll find your own guru and spiritual guide within. These ones really do exist. Who knows? Maybe they're but an externalization of aspects of your very own self. I guess in the ultimate overall oneness of everything, they just about have to be, right? Still, while we still play and do the 3D dance then, gosh, I'm so high I can hardly string two thoughts together here. Personally, I seek the point of perfect balance between both sides of the coin. That way I don't go too far down into the lows, nor get overly attached to the highs, knowing they will continually merge into and swap with one another. Balance is best, I've found. Do you agree? Know that the sage lives within as your very own self. Just stay within, in the heart of now, my friends. Then you can watch all the rest taking place. Whether through you or through others, all will happen exactly as it is supposed to happen. It's only with eyes of heart, though, that you'll be able to actually see this perfection at work. Heart vision is awesome. May you find your own very soon, as in now. Is there a better time for it? Namaste.